this particular exercise, which, again, I don't think actually comes from Albert's book, but I think it really clearly demonstrates, particularly once you snap the picture of it in black and white, like this is such a super high saturated color. It's also really, really dark compared to all the rest of them as well, too. And if we're learning to replicate transparency, right, that's as much about tone as it is about color. Any other questions about this stuff? We'll stay on this a little bit longer if people want. Hopefully these diagrams are both helpful. What about this color? Again, let's talk about this. Where's the darkest tone? The darkest. First of all, how many colors are in this small composition? 3, right? Which one is the darkest tonally? Yeah, this one, right? Which one's the most saturated? Yeah, this is a really lovely green, I think. This would be a color that would make us happy to see for the most part, I think, right? Right? And which one is the most desaturated? So I've confused things a little bit, right? Like we've moved in this direction tonally, and we've moved in this direction in terms of saturation. Everybody see that?
Sorry, I missed. Which is darkest?
You tell me.
Well, upper left of the right half.
This is the same color all the way across. This is another one of the types of tricks that Albers would use to like get people to see things, right?
Okay.
This is one I made up. This is not one his. Yeah.
All right.
So this is darkest,
Yeah.
middle, lightest,
If it's
most
green.
saturated, next in line. Which green has more yellow in it? Any other questions?
When you use the word desaturated,
Mm-hmm.
what are you seeing or
Moving this direction.
moving towards?
Moving towards, moving away from chroma towards neutral gray.
So that top box
Mm-hmm.
in the previous slide
Yep.
is moving more.
One of them was, I think that first
somewhere
green was
in
maybe like right
and
around in
it's moving
here.
this way.
Right, and then that
more
blue
than
green is
inward.
down in this area.
Yeah.
Right, and then we pop back up to a color over here, right, so we kinda went, kinda like we did with the yellow to purple.
Okay.
We went from green to here to back up, like
We were
that.
diving deeper.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yep. Alright, so this is the exercise that we're gonna do today. Alright? We're gonna create this. This is the hardest thing I've had you guys paint yet, for sure. Technically and in terms of mixing color, right? So you don't have to do, I want you to do this exercise with a secondary color. It doesn't have to be purple, but there's a visual example of purple right here, so that might be the easiest one for you guys to work with. I will put the example out on the table here as well too for you guys to reference. So what do we notice about this purple right here? Which color's the darkest tonally? This one in the middle, right? And they kind of step out, right? So again, this is not an activity where someone painted this color and then we came in and painted, right? So how many colors or how many tones are you guys gonna end up mixing for this activity? One, two, three, four. Nope.
Is that one that's sort of triangular? Is that not a different color?
No, this is the same color. This is the same color. And then those are obviously different colors as well too. What else have you noticed about this purple? Is it a very saturated purple? No. Yeah, I mean, I put an example from these are the types of, like, when you take a class that's just on the Munsell color system, you end up painting hundreds and hundreds of these chips to figure out how to mix colors, right? So this purple, it's not actually necessarily on this chart, but it's somewhere in kind of like this area over here. So you're gonna have to do a couple of things to get to a color close to this. First of all, you're gonna have to make a purple, right, or violet, whatever you wanna call it, right? And then you're gonna have to possibly tint it, or you may need to darken it or gray it a little bit, because it's definitely desaturated. So if your purple's right here, adding white to it is gonna move it this direction versus adding a complement to it would send it not directly that way, right? Because yellow, remember, from, oops, one more, right, sorry, yellow's way up here, right? So if we're trying to get into this area, around in here, if we add white, we're just gonna send our purple up this way. We wanna pull it towards gray. You're not gonna be able to pull it directly this direction with the yellow that's right here, but you can move it closer this way. You can gray it out. And the reason that we wanna do that for this particular activity is because we wanna get a nice opaque color, right? Even with a purple that you're gonna make out of your paints, if you get it a little thinned out with water and paint it on your white paper, it's gonna be a really pretty purple, like somewhere, you know, it's gonna be really, really, really nice. It's not gonna be opaque like this is right here, okay? All right, so you're gonna mix a purple, and then you're gonna work with your, begins with a C, complement to it, right? To gray it out a little bit, yep. And this is, I had some confusion the last time I taught this class about what the composition actually looks like, so I thought I'd actually put a diagram up here. So the cutting board is over here if you guys want to or need to cut your paper. And I brought these you guys are welcome to take the ruler, there's pencils over here, and draw it out, or you can just take these and use it as a template and trace it to save yourselves a little bit of time.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll pass these around. So I think probably let's start with getting a piece of paper taped down and get our composition squared away. And you guys feel free to fire away questions while you're doing that.
I thought that was a little tablet.
And I am gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So this point will be the end when you guys do find the video, which I have made.